A 14-year-old schoolboy was mercilessly beaten by his older schoolmate at a school in senseless after the younger boy, while in a line, lost his balance and stepped on the clerk's shoes of the other. It was the latest ugly, vulgar, violent expression of the lack of civility, at the least, and wickedness and violence that have overtaken our relations with each other and with our children. The boy is getting specialist care at the university hospital. It follows days after a bright, outspoken 9-year-old girl was raped and stabbed at least twice by her step-uncle in the very house shared by several members of her family and his. It's not just about children. This is the 91st episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. Desmond Richards is on to crime too, from a different angle. And Winnie Anderson Brown gets you to laugh and de-stress. Please remember to subscribe. It's so easy. And please share this podcast with your friends and relatives. First, my commentary, frankly speaking. The beating of the 14-year-old boy at B.B. Coke High School in St. Elizabeth is disgusting and revolting, and is another yardstick on the descent of the society into a quagmire of lawlessness and reflex violence. It is reported that the boy who became the victim was in a line and lost his balance and accidentally stepped on the shoes, Clark's shoes, being worn by the 16-year-old boy. The Ministry of Education says in a release, it is reported that the student was attacked after he accidentally stepped on another student's shoes in an effort to break a fall, whereupon he was punched in both eyes and then stomped on repeatedly in the head. Frankly speaking, all manner of condemnation came, and rightly, last week following the brutal death as well of 9-year-old Talia Thompson in Discovery Bay, St. Anne. It's time, though, that we act and, frankly speaking, not just ask, how can we punish this one or the next, or ask for mandatory sentences? As I've argued here and elsewhere, for every one of those acts, for every one of those killers or perverts or perps of violence, the system is producing, in conveyor belt fashion, hooligans, potential murderers, cold, heartless, depraved, damaged, hurt people to take their place. It is a hydra-headed monster we face. For weeks, I've been noticing how many murders and wounding incidents have been taking place involving people who know or are related to each other. Husbands and wives. In one case, they were over 80. Informal living relations, spouses. Murder of sister, allegedly by brother. Mother and daughter, father and son, close relatives, murder. Some of the murders and maimings have come out of simmering disputes. Some involved someone with a little more power, putting it over the other. In many cases, an intervention could have prevented blood flowing and death. In some parishes, police are reporting these relationship murders account for as high as between 30 and 50% of the tally. Frankly speaking, the problem is there is too much violence, full stop, too much, out of small differences or disputes, and too few structures and opportunities to settle issues. Conflicts turn to violence too quickly, and many of us don't have the skills or temperament or know where to turn to head them off. I am glad to report that the Ministry of Education has started some enabling sessions in dealing with conflict in the schools and even in parenting. But frankly speaking, that's for another time. Frankly speaking, the country is in its worst state of social disorder and lawlessness since independence. I don't think that can be contested. It all removes dignity and self-worth among many of us. Frankly speaking, at the drop of a hat or the step on a shoe, we are willing to kill. Every area of life or where service is given has become shamefully hooliganized. It's a renewal that's needed for an ambience of cleanliness, removal of chaka-chaka, and the promotion and incentivization of order, respect for self and others, the teaching of conflict resolution skills, and the superstructure for mediation and quick mental health intervention. All that and more. It should not go on like this, but it can get worse. Here now is Desmond Richards.
I mean last week, another bloody week in Jamaica. The latest crime numbers is showing that we have exceeded the 1,000 murders in the country again. Now I want listeners and viewers to know or to remember that this is the 21st year that we are killing 1,000 of our fellow men and women. Yes. And last week, we had a quadruple murder in St. Catherine. And let me remind you that in August, there was a triple murder. An entire family was murdered, also in St. Catherine. That remain unsolved. Now, one of the problems we are having is that a significant number of the murders committed in this country remain unsolved. Now, the strategies being employed by the government, they are not bearing the right results at all. Yes, there has been an 11% decline in murders, but the numbers are way too high. And when you look at the numbers, rapes have gone up significantly. Yes, in the parishes of Trelawney and St. Anne. And the children, the young children, young girls, they are the targets. They are the targets for the rapists, they are the targets for the murderers. Yes. Remember in St. Anne last week, an 8-year-old was raped and stabbed to death. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do to prevent the killings? What are we going to do to prevent and reduce the bloodletting in the country? There are no safe areas in the country, none at all. You can be shot and murdered if you are entertaining yourself, if you are going about your own business, in your homes. Yes, we are helpless at the moment, helpless. Only those who can afford security guards, the rich and powerful, they are safe. Yes, they are safe. But the masses are at the mercy of the raging gunmen. Now, what are we going to do? We have the answers. The answers lie with us, the people.
That was Desmond Richards, journalist and founder of Rebel Radio Jamaica. And now, Winnie Anderson Brown.
I just want to share with you something that you can use to brighten your day. Yes, I'll show you the way we clap. We clap the way we do to stimulate the acupressure points in our hands and energize the body. And you can do this up to 100 times. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time for breathing exercise. Take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's go. In, hold it, and stretch, 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 and let it out. You know, my breath is going while I'm talking, right? So one more time, a deep breath in, hold it, and stretch, 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 and just let it out. It's best to hold it for the count of 5 and just let it out. You don't need a reason to laugh, so let's laugh. 1, 2, 3, let's go. If you don't feel like it, it's okay to just fake it until you make it. And when you have a good laugh, doesn't that feel good? Make sure you get your laughter on. Remember to clap the way I showed you. Do your breathing exercises and just laugh and relieve some of the stress.
That's Winnie Anderson Brown, educator and health facilitator. That's it for Frankly Speaking this week. Please remember to share these podcasts and to subscribe. It's so easy. On behalf of Winnie Anderson Brown and Desmond Richards, I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then.